Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, the SEC strength of schedule. We're going to find out who's got it made. And normally the way we would do this, we'd start with the easiest and work to the toughest. But since we all know who's got the toughest schedule in the SEC, we're going to do it the other way around. We're going to start with the toughest and move down to the easiest. And we're going to go off this ranking based on CBS Sports' Will Backus. And he starts out with, of course, Florida. We all knew that was going to be the case. And as I've told you folks, this is the toughest schedule I've ever seen in college sports. And the first part of it is it's relatively moderate. It's not easy, but, it's not tough either. Miami, which will be a very interesting first game. If they lose that game, Billy Napier's in huge trouble. Then they got an easy game, Sanford. Texas A&M, that'll be tough. At Mississippi State. Then it gets real interesting in the middle. The Central Florida Knights with Gus Malzahn, that's going to be difficult. They're coming to Tennessee at Neyland. That's going to be extremely difficult for them. I expect them to lose that. Then they got Kentucky, who's been giving them a lot of grief. Then it turns into a nightmare. Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, and Florida State.
It's like a nightmare, isn't it? Yeah, and it just keeps getting worse and worse, doesn't it?
Take it on off. I can't help it.
I don't see Napier surviving that. This is easily the hardest schedule in the country. It's not even close. And I'm sure this doesn't surprise you. All right, now we're going to go into the second toughest schedule. And here they're picking Mississippi State. Says Jeff Levy couldn't have asked for a more difficult first year as a coach. And we'll get into that schedule. Now, it doesn't start out too tough. Most teams, they'll have some easy wins to begin with. Eastern Kentucky at Arizona State. That could be a little bit tricky there. That's at 10:30 at night out west. Then they've got Toledo. So they'll at least be 2-1 after their first three games. Then they got to play Florida. That's not easy. Then at Texas and then at Georgia. Okay, you're doomed right there. Those two are guaranteed losses. Then they got Texas A&M. That'll be difficult. Arkansas, they could win that ball game. UMass, they can win that one. Then they got at Knoxville. There's no way. Then they've got Missouri, nope, and Ole Miss. That is very difficult. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They've really got 5 guaranteed losses there almost. As close to guaranteed as you can have. So that's not easy. So if you had a perfect season, everything went your way that is possible, you could go 7-5. That's not a good way to start. They're probably going to end up like 4-8 or something like that in Levy's first season. Maybe 5-7 if things go well. All right, third toughest schedule they've got listed as Oklahoma with Brent Venables. He was 10-3 last year, but in a much easier conference. Starts out with Temple, then Houston, Tulane. So they're 3-0 after the first 3 games, so that's a great start for them. They set up some teams they wouldn't have too much trouble with. Houston might give them a little bit of a game, but I doubt it. Then they got to play Tennessee, and all first 4 games are at home. That's going to be a very difficult game right there. And Oklahoma's got like a new offensive line. The strength of Tennessee's team is going to be the defensive line and their edge rushers. So that could be tough. It's at home, so that's a big advantage for Oklahoma. But that's a 50-50 ball game. Then they go to Auburn. Watch out for Auburn. Then Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss. That's a very tough stretch right there. 5 straight tough games. Tennessee, Auburn, Texas, Gamecocks, and Ole Miss. Then a little break here with Maine. Then at Missouri, Alabama, LSU. Oh, my gosh. Oklahoma. Welcome to the SEC, man.
Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
That's a tougher schedule than I realized. Oh, man. I don't know, Oklahoma. You're a good team, but dang. Now the fourth toughest, Georgia. That's surprising. Georgia, last year they had a cakewalk. The toughest game they had was Tennessee, and unfortunately we didn't have Hendon Hooker. We had Joe Milton, so you need a superstar quarterback to beat Georgia. Everything's got to go your way. They're tough as shoe leather. All right, they start out playing Clemson at Mercedes-Benz Stadium too, that's not a neutral site. It's supposed to be, but it's not. Then they've got an easy win with Tennessee Tech. Then they go to Kentucky. That's a game they'll easily, Kentucky can't play with Georgia because they play the exact same style of football. And it's 3-star versus 5-star. Kentucky does a lot with their 3 stars, but Georgia just pushes them around. So they should probably be 3-0. Then they got to go to Alabama, then Auburn, Mississippi State, and Texas. That's pretty tough right there. Alabama, Auburn, Mississippi State, they'll handle them, and then Texas. So it's not going to be easy. Then they got Florida, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. Yeah, that's pretty tough. And Georgia Tech's not terrible. So, yeah, it's a pretty tough schedule. The best thing Georgia's got going for them is they don't have to play themselves. That's why it's rare to see a team as good as Georgia having such a tough schedule. But putting Clemson in there, I think, pushed it up quite a bit. All right, next is South Carolina at number 5, and I'll show you this schedule. Old Dominion, no problem. At Kentucky, LSU, I don't like that. Akron, watch out for your knees and ankles. Ole Miss, Alabama, Oklahoma. Man, tough schedule. Jeez. Texas A&M at Vanderbilt, there's an easy one. Then Missouri, Wofford, that's an easy one. And then at Clemson, I see 4 easy wins, and that's it. After that, it's going to be very difficult. You're going to have to claw and scrape to get that 5th and 6th win. You need 6 wins for Beamer to get off the hot seat for at least one more year. We'll see how this goes. That's a very difficult schedule. All right, they got Arkansas at number 6. Let's take a look at theirs. All right, start out with UAPB. I don't even know who that is. Then at Oklahoma State, that's pretty tough. UAB Blazers at Auburn. So you might be 2-2 after this, maybe 3-1 at best. I don't see you beating Auburn. Texas A&M, Tennessee, it's getting tougher and tougher. LSU, there's one you could possibly win. Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Texas. One easy one, Louisiana Tech, and then Missouri. No. Arkansas, I don't like your chances, Arkansas, and I don't see Pittman lasting past this year. But you got Bobby Petrino waiting in the wings, so just bring him in about 3/4 of the way. And this season, you'll have him in as acting head coach. Then you can keep him for next year, which is what you want to do anyway. That was the entire plan, and everybody sees through it. So let's just call it what it is. It's the Bobby Petrino coronation season. And we got Vanderbilt at number 7. You know, look, Vanderbilt's always going to have a tough season because the reality is they're in the SEC and they don't get to play Vanderbilt.
How dare you!
They can't play themselves, so they're always going to have a pretty tough schedule. Got a pretty tough game starting out with Virginia Tech. Then they play Alcorn at Georgia State. They can probably win 2 of those 3 games. At Missouri, nope. Alabama, nope. At Kentucky, nope. Ball State, they could win that game. Texas, no way. At Auburn, nope. South Carolina, I don't think so. At LSU, and then Tennessee, of course, like they always play us at the end of the year. Nope. Sorry, Vandy, it is what it is. You'll be 3-9. You might luck up and go 4-8. I don't see any SEC wins in there, and then you'll probably have to get rid of Clark Lee, which, what's the point? Always looking for that next James Franklin. We'll see. All right, 8th toughest, Kentucky. All right, let's see what you got. Southern Miss, there's your win. South Carolina, that'll be a tough game right there. I think you'll win that game because it's at home. Georgia Bulldogs, I told you that's not going to play out. Ohio, you could beat them. At Ole Miss, Vanderbilt, there's a win. At Florida, that'll be tough, but you've been playing them well. Auburn, that's a tough one. At Tennessee, we seem to always beat you.
Can we just stop losing to this stupid team with their stupid orange colors, and their stupid song, and their woo, get their woo on out of here.
Murray State, you'll win that. At Texas, and then Louisville, your big in-state game. That's a pretty tough schedule. It is. This is a team that I see 7-5, maybe 8-4, could be 6-6. Mark Stoops done a good job there. Look, you're in the SEC, man, and you're doing it with 3 stars. He's a good coach. He just is. He's really kind of overachieved a little bit. He would have been very interesting at Texas A&M, but here's the thing. People got to take Kentucky seriously in football. They just do. If you don't, they'll run over you. So, tough schedule. Number 9, Alabama with Kalen DeBoer. Let's take a little look, see at what Bama's got going on. All right, Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. That's an easy one. USF, there's another easy win. At Wisconsin, you'll whoop up on them. So you're 3-0. Oh, then there comes Georgia. That should be a fantastic game. That's exciting. At Vanderbilt, easy win. South Carolina, easy win. At Tennessee, got to come to Neyland. We'll be waiting on you. Last time you were up here, it went our way. Should have got you last year, too. Dang, nabbit. Up 13 points on them going in the second half. Lose the ball game. Anyway, good luck to you. You're going to need it at Neyland. Then Missouri. I think that's no easy win there. It's at home, though. At LSU, that'll be tough. Mercer, easy. At Oklahoma, And then Auburn, of course, to give you everything they got. Revenge is going to be in their heart after last year's heartbreak.
And I will have my vengeance in this life or the next.
It's at home for you, so that's big. Auburn's coming on. Keep an eye on them. Number 10, LSU. Let's see what old Brian Kelly's got in store. All right, starting out with USC, first ball game. That's tough. The Nichols Colonels, never heard of that team in my life. That's just a warm-up there. Then at South Carolina, in UCLA. Why are y'all playing USC and UCLA? That is crazy. South Alabama. So I think y'all could be 5-0 pretty easily right there. Then Ole Miss, that'll be tough. At Arkansas, easy. At Texas A&M, that could be tough. Alabama, tough. At Florida, Florida play you tough at home. Vanderbilt, Oklahoma. Not that brutal. Not that tough a schedule. You could be 10-2 pretty easily with that. So look for LSU to have some success this year. We'll see. Their defense sucked last year. It was terrible.
This sucks more than anything that has ever sucked before.
But they won a lot of games. They had Jaden Daniels, who was killing it. We'll see how Newsmeyer does. But he's supposed to be pretty good. Number 11 toughest is Texas A&M. That's a good start for Elko to get the 11th toughest schedule. All right, starting out with Notre Dame. How'd you start out with Notre Dame? Good grief. That's tricky. SEC wasn't tough enough for you? McNeese Cowboys at Florida Bowling Green. I tell you, 3-1 maybe through here. 2-2 is possible. If you go 4-0, you've killed it. Arkansas, you'll win that game, I think. Missouri, that's tough. At least it's at home. At Mississippi State, that's not too tough. LSU, it's at home. At South Carolina, New Mexico State, at Auburn, and then Texas. It's tough. It's doable, but it's pretty tough for a first season, Mike Elko. This feels 8-4-ish, something like that. Remember, Texas A&M's got a ton of talent, and they got a 5-star quarterback. If they can keep Connor Wagman upright and healthy, I think they'll win 8 ball games, might win 9. This is another team to watch out for long term. They could turn out to be really good. All right, number 12, Auburn Tigers. Let's look at their schedule. All right, Alabama A&M. So you start with Alabama A&M and end with Alabama. All right, then California, no problem there. You'll handle them. It's at home. New Mexico, you handle them. Well, actually, no, it was New Mexico State got you last year, wasn't it? I like your chances to get 4-0, especially with Arkansas. Then Oklahoma, that's going to be pretty tough, but it's at home. Then at Georgia, oh boy, that could be brutal. Then at Missouri, at Kentucky, Vanderbilt, ULM, Warhawks, Louisiana Monroe maybe, Texas A&M, and then Alabama. All right, not too bad a schedule there for Hugh Freeze in his second year. This is a team that I'm telling you next year is where you really got to watch out for Auburn. They're recruiting like crazy. They had a great class last year, a great one this year. They're on their way back.
People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Yeah, they're like Tennessee. Tennessee's just a couple years further ahead of them. Look for Auburn to be winning at a high level pretty soon. Probably not this year with Peyton Thorne, but it's coming. All right, now Tennessee with the 13th toughest schedule. It's hard to finish 13th when you're playing Alabama and Georgia every single year. The top 2 teams the last 15 years. So it tells you we've got some easy games in between. Got a warm-up game against Chattanooga, then NC State. That's at a neutral site. We should be able to handle them, I would expect. Kent State. We should be 3-0 going into Oklahoma, but it's at Oklahoma. That's going to be tough. And that's going to be homecoming for Josh Heupel, so to speak. Then at Arkansas, that should be no problem. Then Florida at home. That's the key. It's at home. This is a team that could be 6-0 through here. They might be 4-2. Oh, God. If we're 4-2 and one of the losses is Florida. Oh, no. We need to at least be 5-1. I think we need to be 6-0, though. Then Alabama, huge ball game at Neyland. That is a monster ball game. We will be ready for you, Alabama, and so will the UT fan base.
You fellas been doing a bit of boozing, have you? Sucking back on Grandpa's old cough medicine?
No, oh no, sir. No.
Oh, yeah. They will be fortified and ready to roll. Then Kentucky, we seem to always beat them. Mississippi State, there's our toughest ball game at Georgia. That's going to be rough. UTEP, no problem. At Vanderbilt, no problem. I got us 10-2 this year making the playoff. Now, that assumes that Nico Iamaleava stays healthy and plays at the level I expect him to play at. I think he will. Just keep him upright, and that's every team. You got to keep your quarterback healthy. That's the way it is. But I like this schedule. Other than the Alabama and the Georgia, Oklahoma away is tough, but this is not that bad. All right, folks, now we're getting into the easy schedules. Texas, of all teams, first year gets an easy schedule, but let's take a look at it. All right, start out with Colorado State, no problem there. At Michigan, that's a tough away ball game right there.
It's got to be America's team.
And then UTSA, no problem. ULM, no problem. Mississippi State, no problem. So worst case scenario, they're 4-1, probably 5-0. Then they got to go let's see. Then they got to play Oklahoma. That'll be a tough game. Georgia, boy, that's the big game for them this year. Can't wait for that ball game. Then they get a break with Vanderbilt. Then they play Florida. They'll handle them. At Arkansas, no problem. Kentucky, that'll be another team where Texas plays a very similar style, a kind of punch-you-in-the-mouth type game. And Kentucky's, again, 3-star versus 5-star. So I think they'll win that pretty easily. And then at Texas A&M, which will be a dogfight because it's in-state. And A&M's got a lot of reasons to want to beat Texas. Took their baseball coach right at the absolute worst possible time and in-state. And when I'm telling you, when I say this is a rivalry, oh, man, it's as brutal as Alabama-Auburn. It just is.
Revenge is a dish that is best served cold. It is very cold in space.
You might see a fight or two in the stands. Don't be shocked. All right, now we're getting into some real easy schedules. Ole Miss at number 15. You're going to see what I'm talking about when I say easy schedules. Furman, Middle Tennessee, at Wake Forest, Georgia Southern. They're 4-0 before they even get out of bed. They're 4-0. Boom. No problem. I don't know how they looked up into this schedule. They got Kentucky. That's their first actual ball game. Then at South Carolina, they could easily be 6-0. At LSU's their first really tough ball game. Then Oklahoma, that's at home. At Arkansas, easy. One really, really tough ball game. Georgia. Then at Florida, it's at the Swamp. And then Mississippi State. How'd they get this schedule? Lane Kiffin, born with a rabbit's foot up his rear end. Jeez. That's an easy schedule, folks. One really, really brutal game with Georgia, and the rest, they're winnable. They just are. He could go 10-2 very easily and make the playoff and have a mistake in the middle. And now the luckiest team in the SEC, the Missouri Tigers. Where do you see this little schedule? Start off with 4 really tough games. Murray State, Buffalo, Boston College, and Vanderbilt.
You serious?
If they're not 4-0, they should fire Eli Drinkwitz immediately. That's just total cakewalk right there. Then they got to go to Texas A&M, then UMass. So they're 5-1 worst case scenario. Then they play Auburn at home. Got one really tough ball game right there with Alabama on the road. They'll lose that one, I would expect. Oklahoma, that's at home. God, all their tough games are at home except for Alabama. At South Carolina, at Mississippi State, at Arkansas. You got to be kidding me with this schedule. Yeah, who did he pay off? Eli. What did this schedule cost you? $10 million? Jeez. You must have something on Sankey. I don't know what it is. I can't believe this schedule. If you don't make the playoffs, you will never make the playoffs if you don't make it with this schedule right here. And your tough games, with the exception of Alabama's at home. Jeez. All right, folks, just wanted to do the rundown on toughest to easiest. Florida, nightmare scenario. Missouri, piece of cake. I don't know how y'all are in the same conference or who put this schedule together, but the difference is shocking. It really is. It's a tale of 2 seasons. So anyway, thought it'd be fun to run those down from toughest to easiest. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's continue to cover all these big stories. And right over here is a little subscribe button. It'll help you get my videos. Won't cost you a dime. And right over here is the most recent video that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy based on your viewing history. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.